Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today we'll start this Kiddushin daf Samach Aleph. We are going to begin on Samach Amid Beis by the Mishnah. The Masnisen says as follows: a person says, "I wish to marry you, al manas sheishli base core," in condition that I have a base core offer. And Rashi explains exactly what this is. Makam Huril, it's a place, it's fit. Lazuro Lamed Sayin, enough to be able to plant 30 saw. And it's calculated for each of the saw, mea al chamishim, 100 by 50, kechatzer hamishkan. Just like when it comes to the courtyard of the Mishkan, which is chamishim al chamishim, will be saw, 50 by 50 per saw. So sayim is 100 by 50. Base core, and we're dealing with the base core, elef. That's 1,000. The elef, 1,000. The tough kuf, and 500. Oirich in length, al nun roichav, by 50 in width. V'i ata marabo, and if like you would square it, timsenu mosayim v'shivim ushloisha v'hei tvachim, it would be 273 and 5 tvachim. It would be 273 by 273. Okay, it's very difficult to understand why they're so medactic to tell us exactly what this measurement is. It's even more fascinating when we'll eventually be getting at the Hadron on Pei Beis and Mid Beis. Right underneath the Hadron, Perish Cheshman base core. So it goes through this very lengthy discussion of exactly how big is this base core, Ayin Shal. So anyway, on this, if that person would make that condition, Harizu Mikadashas V'yeshlo, it's a good condition, provided of course he has it. Almanash Yeshli B'Makam Plaini, on condition that I have it in this particular exact location. So im yeshlo ba'isa malka im mikadeshus, im have im mikadeshus. Even if he does have it, but it's not in that place, it's totally on that place. Amanas she'arich base core offer, on condition that I show you a base core offer, haris mikadeshus v'yirena. You just have to show it to her. However, mim hera bebika in mikadeshus. If you just show her some valley, says Rashi, hari lech bika gedoyla. You go to the Grand Canyon and just show it to her. V'kama batikurin v'in echem shlo, but none of them is his. It's nothing, because as we saw before, her kavana, when upon hearing this, is that it's his. Okay. So the Gemara asks the question, similar to what we had before, how could it be that it's not a good Kiddushin? Maybe he has. When we say it's not a Kiddushin, doesn't mean it's not a Kiddushin. It means it's not a Vade Kiddushin. Okay. So, for the Gemara, why do you have to mention land and money? Sorry, because we already said in the previous Mishnah, on condition I have a certain amount of money. What's the difference, money or land? It's the same idea. So when it comes to money, sometimes people will hide their money, says Rashi. We see, if he has the money, havi kedushi vadai. Lo chazina havi kedushi safek. If he doesn't, you don't see the money, he still may have it, because maybe it's just hidden. Aval ara emaloi hema idis le ara kala isle kamashmon. Says Rashi, il yadin and dieshel. People don't know if he actually has land. If kedushi safek leikum, maybe it's not even a kedushi safek. Demad di isle ara kala isle. People should know about it. So my answer is no. It's still considered to be a suffix. That's the chiddush. Because he specified the place. What difference does it matter where it is? I'm the one that's going to go to the other city and be matriach to bring the food here anyway. Kamash Mulan, it does matter. Almanash she'arich beis korafer. So Tana lo nischav nezu el liris mishaloi. She was expecting it was his, not to show me some random field. V'im hera bebika in the mekadeshes. So pshita l'tzricha dinakit bidistura. If let's say he was, Rashi says, a resource, he was a sharecropper. So because of that, so he has a chelik. He doesn't own the whole property, but he has a chelik in it. That's also not enough. Okay, that was question 6, the chiddush there. Fine. Now, Gabi Hektish Tanan. When it comes to the din of Hektish, we learn, as we continue to Samach Aleph and Aleph, that Hamakdish Sadehu, B'shas HaYovel. Person in Rashi says, B'shas HaYovel means B'zman HaYovel Noyig. At the time where Yovel, the 50th year, applied, Shekol Sdei Chuza, any ancestral field, Pidyoino Shava Migzer Sakasav. The redemption is always the same. Achas Yafav Achas Ra. If it's good or bad, it's always the exact same amount. The Gemara says, so Amaktish Sadeh B'Shasa Yovel, Noisin, if you want to redeem it, it's Bezerah, the area that you can plant is a chaymer soirim, a chaymer of barley, chamishim shekel kesef. So that's the amount for pigeon. It's always the same amount. Avol bisman she'ena yovel noig, says Rashi, nifti b'shavyin. Then it's based on its actual value. Okay. So let's say hayu nikayim amukim asar tvachim. Let's say you have ditches, like holes in the ground, which are deep, 10 tvachim, or sloim gemarim asar tvachim. You have stones that are very tall, like the rock of Gibraltar there. Ein nibdan in imoi. That's not counted among the measurements, because it's almost like a separate field. Pachais mekan nimdad in imo. However, if it's less, then it is measured. Vavinamba nehi devahadi yarel kachu. I understand together with the land, it won't be sanctified. So that it's not going to be calculated together with all of it. However, Nikash Biapi Nafshayu. Why don't we say at least, let's say a huge rock, let at least be calculated by itself. Maybe it's because it's less than a base course, so it's not considered to have value. It's not true. Why does it feel? Only maybe if you're matish the exact way. And the rabbis letech, v'chatzi letech, saw tarkov, or even v'chatzi tarkov. How do we know that even if it's all such a small amount, so again, the question is, we should look higher, as Rashi says, nikdishu b'apei nafshayu l'yosnim dadin. It should be measured l'fima sheyesh mehen, based on what it is. And the slope won't be calculated. So Amar Mor Ukva Mor Chama Hacha b'nikayim malei mayim askinan mishum dala b'nei zirininu. When we're dealing with these ditches or holes, they're not shaykh to plant in them, so therefore they're not worth it. You cannot be included. It says Rashi v'kasav hakatuv zera umidi dala b'nei zriya, and then anything which is not fit for planting, enu niftin b'damim hello el b'shavya. It's not going to be calculated based on this this normal amount, but based on its actual value. It's just like the rocks. A rock you can't plant on a rock. So too, it's talking about these ditches filled with water you can't plant them. If it's less than 10 tvachim, then it should also not be included, because you can't plant there. No, because since it's such a small hole, Hanhu Nagne Da'ara Mikru. This is kind of like the water basins of the earth. Shidra Da'ara Mikru. It's like the spine of the land, it is called. And therefore, it's not like something, because they're so small, it's not considered to be like separate. So again, what we're saying when it comes to Hektish, we're talking about you can't plant on an area that is filled with water when it's 10 tfachim high. If it's less, it is like a water basin, which is of value for the field. So that's when it comes to Hektish. Okay, Gabi Mecher, when it comes to a sale, we find something different. Tanan. Selling you this particular field. And they're again holes or big rocks. So they're not again measured in it, which sounds a lot like what we said so far. But then it says like this: however, it's less than 10, it is measured. Here's the difference. Even if it's not filled with water. But by hektish, it's only when it's filled with water. But without water, even if it's above 10, it does combine. However, when it comes to a mecher, it's dafka if it has water. If it doesn't have water, when it comes to mecher, even if it doesn't have water, it doesn't matter. My time are purple if he in adam writes a sheet in as moisa b'stadachas v'yirol kishneim shoshim kaimus. It doesn't matter even if it doesn't have water, because you don't want such a field where it looks like you have like 2 or 3 different fields. It's like we'd rather have something much more flat. So hachamai, what's the name when it comes to Kiddushin? Well, hektish midaminan, is it like hektish that it's only considered when you said I have a base core? Is these holes that are 10 tfachim deep? Is it only when it is filled with water, like hektish, or even if it's not filled with water, like a mecher, that it's not part of the base core calculation? Well, hektish midaminin law or mecher midaminin law, mastabra hektish midaminin law. So we say no. It's more likely that it's probably like hektish, that it's only not counted when it has water in it. But if it doesn't have water in it, then it is counted. Why? I'm going to be matriach myself and I'm going to go and get it. So this is the question number 7, which basically asks, what is the din when it comes to hektish? These holes, is it only when there's water in it? The answer is yes. When it comes to mecher, even if there's no water in it, it still won't be counted. And when it comes to Kiddushin, we see that has like hektish, it's only when there's water in it. But if there's no water in it, which is something that you can actually plant, that is considered to be a base core. Okay. Let's look at question TB 29. Hikdish sadehu b'zman she'yavel noyig be'ez oifen. In what situation ein hanikoyim sheba nimdanin ima? When do we say that the holes are not included? Lios nigolim bedin zer chayim Yisraelim el b'shavya. So it says when it comes to hektish, so it's totally if it's more or less than 10 tfachim. B'gvoyim asara, if it's more than 10 tfachim, or if it's maleim mayim. So which is quite similar to question 7. That was TB 29. Okay. All right, let's continue and see the next. Let's see the next Mishnah. Masnisin. Rameir oimer kol tanai shenu ketanai b'nei Gad b'nei Ruvain enu tanai. So this is a very famous Gemara. There's actually 4 stipulations for a condition to work, and one of them, it has to be like the condition that was said by Bnei Gad, Uvnei Ruvain. What exactly is that referring to? So Rashi first of all says she'in kofel. If it's not a tanai kofel, if it's not doubled over, then it's nothing. So we bring the pasuk in Bamidbar. If you do go and fight with us on the other side in Eretz Yisrael, in Eretz Canaan, then fine, you'll be able to inherit on the Transjordan. But if you do not cross over and act as warriors, then you're not going to get it. So that's the sheet of Rameir. No, these words needed to have been said. Shilmoi Cain, because if he didn't say that, if they wouldn't fight, you would think they wouldn't get anything. But that's not true. If they wouldn't have fought, they just wouldn't have gotten from the Transjordan. But they would have still gotten a Chelek in Eretz Yisrael. So, therefore, it's not necessarily a raya that you need to make a Tanai Kafel, the Chol Tar Kula. It had to have been said in this particular situation that is the opinion of Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel. Okay, fine. So the Gemara says, Shaper Kamerle Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel, Rabbi Meir. Seems to be a pretty good question. How could it be that Rabbi Meir learns out tonight kafel from here? But we see that it was necessary to be said. So maybe only when it's necessary to be said, but if there's no point in saying the negative, you don't have to. So if you think it wasn't in order to show that it's always required, every condition, to have a tanai kafel, so in the lift of the pasuk just had to say, yavru, if you don't cross, then you'll be together with us. Be'eretz Canaan, as we continue to Samach Aleph Amud Beis, Be'eretz Canaan Lamli. So why does it mention that? Right? The fact that you said Eretz Canaan, Rashi says it's the mashma, it's a miyuta. It's coming to exclude something. So Shemawan Alatanai Kafel Hudasa. Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel Omer says no. Ilukas Arachmana Be'eretz Canaan. You have to have the words Eretz Canaan too, because if not, Havamina v'Nachas U'B'Seichem Be'eretz Gilad, then you would say that they would get a portion of Eretz Gilad. Of Eretz Canaan, Klal Loi, they wouldn't get any of Eretz Yisrael. Okay. Look at Rashi. Rav Chanina Armochal Oilam Lobo Lichba El Farish, to explain. Shafiu Lo Yavru, even if you wouldn't cross, Lo Yafsidu Nachos and Mikol Eretz Yisrael, you're not going to lose out. You would still get at least that. Skipping a few lines of Rashi, L'Hachi Kasa Be'eretz Canaan, that's why it says that Sha'af Be'eretz Canaan Yitlu, that also Eretz Canaan you'll still get. Avabi Shalo Sialu Kaivsha, even if you didn't help to conquer it. Aval Miyutish Shalo Yitlu Eretz Hagilad Kenegda Lu Itzrach. You don't need to mention anything about Eretz Gilad, because from saying the positive, you can infer the negative. So if you don't really need it tonight, kafel. Okay. Tanya Omer Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel Mashal Mahadavar Daime. What is a mashal to what is comparable? Adam Shahim Achal Nachasam Vavanav. He's dividing his possession to his son. Omer Pliny B'ni Yirash Sada Ploinus. One son is getting this field. Pliny B'ni Yirash Sada Ploinus. Another guy's getting a different field. Pliny B'ni, this third kid, Yitin Masayim Zuz, give $200, then be Yirash Sada Ploinus. Then you get the other field. V'imlo, if you don't give the money, v'imlo Yitin Yirash Im Echav Bishar Nechasim, then you'll be able to divide up with your brothers in the other possessions. So it's just like getting Eretz Yisrael. You're not getting anything extra, but at least you're going to be able to, at least, if you don't do what as I asked, at least you'll get something. So mi garmo yarish im echav b'shar nechasim, kfela garmo. So what caused him to be able to get that which is connected to all the other brothers? So it was the kefel. It was the fact that it was doubled over. Otherwise, if the boy doesn't give, he won't get anything. The kefel, the kfela, gave him a chelik. So too in Eretz Yisrael. Otherwise, he'd get nothing. He'd get nothing either. But normally, Tanai kafel is not required. It says Rashi, Kach shar hashvatim yito Eretz Canaan. The other shvatim can get Eretz Canaan. Mishnei shvatim elu, and these other two guys, Yavru as a yardain l'machal, come and fight. Dainu dumish yitel hem mosayim zuz. Like give me $200. Yitel Eretz Gilad, then you can get Eretz Gilad, this other field. The imlo yavru, if you don't, will yafsidu chelkom Eretz Canaan. They're not going to lose their portion. Dainu shar nechasim. So where is this one saying? V'holo dami mashal mastis. It's not comparable because hasam katani yesh b'mashma shefil Eretz Canaan lo yinchalu. They maybe won't even get Eretz Canaan. Al makfel Eretz Gilad nami mahani. So therefore, the kefil actually also says helps regarding getting or not getting Gilad. The whole purpose of that was so it's not really exactly the same thing. It's a little kasha. So it's all depending on before it was said or afterwards. It says Rashi on the bottom. It says Shilmoli Kain Shikafel Devar Yeshmash Meshaberetz Kanan Yitlu. The Koshkim Makim Hechaviv Lahem. So you would think that he would get not only not the land which they wanted, Eretz Gilad, but not even Eretz Canaan. Skipping a few lines. Basid Yermel Rab Meir Nichtav Kra B'Nachazu De'ilu Kasvi Hava Amina B'Nachaz B'Sechem Eretz Gilad. So you would think he would only get Gilad, and we say no, he gets Eretz Yisrael too. He gets Eretz Yisrael as well once Kefil was said. So it's not just that they would only get that portion, but they would also get a portion Eretz Canaan. Bishom Rameir Hainonesiv. So that was a little bit bumpy. The rest of this is very easy. Bishom Rameir Hainonesiv Im Tativ Seis Vim Lo Tativ Lo Pesach Chatas Rivitz, which is in Parshas Bereishis. If you do the right thing, you'll be rewarded. If not, then the sin will be crouching upon you. You're going to be punished. Rashi says Schar. So El Rav Chanina Lamuli. Why does the pasuk repeat it? Must be Tanai Kafel. So Sagadaitach. So it says Sagad Hamina Im Tetiv Agra. If you do good, you get reward. Im Lo Tetiv. If you don't do good, Agra Dina, you won't get punished. Kamashmon, you're going to get din. Bishul Meramer Hananesev Az Tinakeh Me'olasi. It says, but regarding Eliezer, that if you don't, I want you to go and find a son for my, a bride for my son, then you will be clean from the oath. So it's you would maybe think, hey, that maybe you should still bring her even though she doesn't want, against her will. Kamash Malan, no. If she doesn't want, then you are free. Why does it say if you don't bring, this woman doesn't want? So so this is actually the other way around, that it wasn't good for him, but now it's not good for her. Nice about karcha kamashmuan. So why is it repeat it? Must be Tanai Kafel, there'll be a curse. El Rabbi Chanina Megamliel Lamli. You can't just infer. Then you have bracha. If you follow the chukim. If you don't, if you so desire, etc. Vim timanu umarisem. However, you could rebel. Fine, so again, that we see it's repeated. If you desire and do the right thing, taiva. So as we continue Samach Beis Amud Aleph, my cherev tuchlu. What does this mean in the words that person's sword will be consumed? So Maraba milcha gilal nisa. This is referring to this type of large salt. Rashi says Galal Nisa is gasa, is a large amount of salt. Naham on bread, the sari, which is barley akusha, like hard barley bread. Ubatsala with onion. The Amar pas porne, when it comes to this dry bread, chareva b'melech, which is all dried up with salt, ubatsala with onions, kasha maguf kacharavais. They're tough to the body, just as swords. So this is just like the end of that pasuk. Question TA28. We're going to stop there. TA28. V'yermulhem im yavru v'im lo yavru v'nachzbaz Eretz Canaan. L'mulhem member Eretz Canaan. So what does that have to say Eretz Canaan? One is either to tell you Tanai Kafel, or he says that no, imo kain mashmad imo yaver chalutzim shikabu rak beretz gilad, that you would only get Eretz Gilad. Beretz Canaan klal lo, you wouldn't get Eretz Canaan. Kamashmalon shikabu chelik shava beretz Canaan, that you also get a chelik in Eretz Canaan. Adkan.